Hi, welcome to my home. I'm Sara Morel, also known as Reclaim Woman, because I renovated my flat almost entirely with reclaimed materials and then quit my corporate fashion job to reclaim my life. Come on in. Rewind 7 years ago and I'd never even stepped foot inside a salvage yard. Now I am CEO of Salvo, the marketplace for reclamation and reuse. So you can probably tell this project was a complete education and it resulted in a total life change. Initially I was attracted to antique and reclaimed materials for the look and for the character, but as I began to educate myself about the environmental benefits of working with salvage, it just strengthened my commitment to use them even more. I can certainly thank my fashion job for enabling me to buy my first home in West London. It's small, as you can probably already tell, but I absolutely love it and I use every inch of it. So what I want to do is take you on a tour of my tiny home. Think of it as cribs with carbon calculations, and I also want to share some of the ways that I made the project personal and also environmentally friendly. This is the original kitchen, and now it's my walk-in wardrobe. It sounds ridiculous when you hear that I turned my kitchen into a wardrobe, but as you can see, the windowless kitchen was actually destined to be a wardrobe. So I opened up the hallway to create the wardrobe and moved the kitchen here. It's over 6 years since I did the renovation, so I can certainly say that the materials and for me the design has really stood the test of time. I can also say that the stories behind the pieces that I used in my kitchen have provided endless dinner party conversations. The kitchen is definitely my favourite part of the flat. For sure it will take you a little bit longer to source pieces for your renovation if you choose to work with reclaimed, but the 6 months or so that I spent sourcing allowed me that precious time to really get a feel for the space, which also helped me reuse more of the original kitchen than I might have initially expected. It's good to let go of your ego a bit, in the sense that you move in and immediately want to assert your style on a place, but I found it really helpful to live in the flat for a bit before I made changes. That way, you get a better understanding of what you really want and need from the space, and of course you can save money by finding more things to reuse and repurpose. So I reused most of the kitchen appliances and the old kitchen carcasses, but I made them mine with new doors and the help from a really fantastic carpenter. So the doors are actually made from floorboards that were salvaged from an old girls' school, and they were from the gymnasium, hence the colourful markings. And I'm not going to lie, the inclusion of the pink really swung it for me. Continuing on the school theme, my worktop and the roaring 1920s radiators were also salvaged from schools. I think the most ambitious part of the renovation was probably the arts and crafts fireplace that I repurposed as a splashback and cooker hood. The extractor we made from organ pipes that were salvaged from a church in East London by the Architectural Forum. So a lot of the pieces that I used in the renovation were actually rescued from London buildings, and I didn't see myself becoming a London transport enthusiast, but some of the most practical pieces in the project were actually rescued from King's Cross Station when it was renovated. One of the pieces is this 1940 staff notice board, and I just love the way that you can still make out the pin markings from where probably notice would have decorated the frame as well. And I glammed them up a little bit with these gold doorknobs that I reused from other cupboard doors in the flat. Instead of the usual look inside the fridge, I wanted to draw a comparison between choosing reclaimed materials and wonky veg. A third of the food grown in the world is wasted, and we're currently only reusing 1% of reclaimed building materials. We're underutilising what's available, and often for no good reason. Salvo is currently working on an EU project called FCRBE, which stands for Facilitating the Circulation of Reclaimed Building Elements. But that doesn't quite roll off the tongue, so we have branded it Future Use. And the aim is to increase the existing level of reuse of reclaimed building materials by 50% by 2032. Right, wardrobe.
I saved a small amount of energy by leaving the ceramic kitchen tiles in place rather than removing them, and risked that they would end in landfill as there's not much second-hand demand for these simple white tiles. I think everyone wants to put their stamp on a new home, and I'm no different, but there are ways to reduce the carbon footprint of your project. So these slightly odd-shaped patches of white tiles nestling among clothes hung between reclaimed pine wardrobe dividers have been accepted as part of my flat's past life.
Even though I'd say avoid trends, ironically looking at antique and reclaimed materials can be your quickest way to get hold of something before it hits the mainstream. I got my marble fantasy in the bathroom with reclaimed offcuts in a crazy paving inspired design. I think we want our interiors to excite us, and now more than ever, so why shouldn't a trip to the bathroom be a beautiful escape? So one bathroom, one bedroom, one garden, one kitchen, now my walk-in wardrobe, and one woman taking her first steps into sustainability by way of salvage yards, but refusing to part with my shoe collection. I collected these from years working in fashion, so a decent shoe wardrobe was high on my wish list, and the mauve French doors were the first thing I sourced. Inside you get more salvage from King's Cross Station, as I use these pigeonholes, which were once used to hold mail. Behind the shoes you can still see the alphabetical filing system. The last thing I want to say about this room is how much I love the lighting. I got the main Art Deco light from a market, and I got these 50s lights from Retrouvius. Don't let your electrician put you off antique lights. Just look for lights that have been properly restored and tested, and it's best to find an electrician that has worked with reclaimed lighting. Dressing my home with reclaimed, eco-friendly materials gave me daily inspiration to make a bigger change. And now my personal and professional lives feed each other. We're adding reclaimed fashion into Salvo to grow it as a destination for reuse, to not only build but also dress your home and yourself for the world you want. Thanks for joining the journey.